for the other person.
Here, do it live. Say it again. No, don't say it. We're just kidding. Welcome to a very special thing. You guys, you made it all the way through the Dance Gavin Dance full album reaction, and you guys were like, man, that was good, but I want it twice as fat. So I said, have I got the bestest boy for you? And that is my right hand job man, Pat George. Pat, the Grateful Dead, how you doing? No, Pat, the late great Grateful Dead. George, how you doing, Mr. Man?
Baby, I am ready to talk about everything.
We're not on that album yet, dude.
I know. I just said what they're thinking. I had a beer here.
What is good? What is good? This is Drag the Lake. We are doing we are in the second stage of the full album, full discography reaction. We did Dance Gavin Dance, and we are moving on now to Every Time I Die. And I was very excited to do this. I wanted to get Pat in on the mix because Every Time I Die, while being it's the band that I don't know how to frame this, say this exactly, so pardon me while I stumble through this, but it's basically the band that both of us have in like probably our top 5.
Oh yeah, easily.
Out of all of our top 5s, this is the one that's in both of our top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is something that we like no matter what, like we kind of one of the things that we always mention on the show is like we fill in the gaps that like the other person had during the same time period in the same music genre. So like
I bring Pat on to fill in my gaps, and it leaves me happy. My wife says you're in there for a while making loud noises with your friend. But I tell her, I go, Pat's filling in my gaps, so let the art happen.
You mentioned that we couldn't say that at the beginning of the show. You said we were not supposed to be talking about that. You said don't say that.
No,
but
I said don't bring up that we make love, but we can allude to it.
Okay, good. We talk about music with each other, but we also talk about like you say, like even the Dance Gavin Dance thing. When you brought up Dance Gavin Dance,
you get an accent.
I don't know.
You're like when you were talking about Dance Gavin Dance.
Yeah, you know when Dance Gavin Dance came up.
Dude, you got fucking sexy as shit on that, dude. Yeah, when you were doing that full Dance Gavin Dance reaction, it was enthralling.
But
I'm sorry.
When you brought him up to me, you're like, "Hey, how do you think? What do you think about them?" And like, it was kind of like where you were gonna give a full discography breakdown of them. I'd be like, I remember the one what's that Downtown Mountain thing?
Going down to the mountain,
down mountain, town.
Doing a battle on the down mountain.
I listened to that a couple times and I really, really liked it at the time. But then I thought they broke up because I never bought another album of theirs. So I thought they broke up. Turns out they're still around. And so like you're able to fill that gap. Here, we got no gaps.
No gaps. Not one gap. We are locked in, airtight. Not another soul getting in between us on this one. So I'm very excited to get into this, and we are talking about, if you did not read the title, if you were just closing your eyes, clicking on videos, and this one popped up, if you did not read the title, we are getting into Every Time I Die, one of my favorite bands. The band, actually, I think I have the most shirts for, because for a very similar reason why I have a lot of Run the Jewels shirts is it's just an easy gift for me to get when Christmas or my birthday rolls around. 9 times out of 10, one of the gifts I'm getting is a Run the Jewels shirt. And the wifey, she was like, I know what to do. He likes Every Time I Die. What if I got him 4 Every Time I Die? No, she got me 5 Every Time I Die. No, she got me like 4 Every Time I Die shirts. And I got to tell you, you've never met a happier man to get 4 Every Time I Die shirts. They're the best. Also, we love to talk merch on the pod. Every Time I Die, respects the hell out of their big old fans.
Top tier merch.
Good 3X with plenty of room. Oh, you know,
big boy in the band.
Yeah. What?
They had a big boy in the band. Andy himself, Mr. Andy Williams, is, and I don't mean as a fat boy because he's definitely
thick as hell
with muscle, but he also needs to wear those big ass shirts because of all the shoulder he has. So he needs those shirts. But also, I love the fact that the merch that they make, whether it be artwork done by Jordan or any other kind of design. They have hoodies. They got fun puns. They keep it fun. They keep it silly. They keep it serious. They keep it brutal. They got everything. If they could just be, I think honestly now, because you're saying your wife bought you these for this year's Christmas.
Yeah, and some of the shirts are they're kind of the band's kind of just a t-shirt company.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is they're just a merch store now? It's pretty awesome. I'm fine with that. Like, because
dude, they've been putting out
9 albums. They have 9 albums. So, you know what I mean? Like, and all of them fucking bangers. Spoiler alert: we're gonna like a lot of these.
Yeah, spoiler. Hey, if you're in Every Time I Die, get your junk out. You're getting jerked off.
Yeah, because we love it. Get in the bath, fucking light some candles, Keith. You're gonna love everything we're gonna say about you.
Dude. Yo, if you're an Every Time I Die fan or formerly in them, draw a bath.
Yeah, because we're when we say you're a merch store now, you're the best merch store, because
dude, they had
anything. I love it.
Yeah, sorry. They had they had one I meant to pick up where I believe it was basically they took, you know how their logo kind of is the eye. Like they kind of go back and forth from it. Like back in the day when they first started, the eye and Every Time I Die was like their main logo, and now it's kind of like shifting to other things, but that's always something that comes back in designs and shit like that. Like I got the long sleeve with the devil on the back, and I believe the eye is on the front and shit. So it's one that they come back often from time to time. And they had as we all know, Every Time I Die, their majority of the band is mainly from Buffalo. Big fan of the Buffalo Bills, and they had a logo that it was the eye, but it was made to look like the Buffalo Bills logo. And that was a big one I missed out on that I regret, because I think they were doing like a limited release on that one.
Dang. Yeah, I feel like I have a Buffalo Bills like themed print that Jordan did or something like that, framed up here. It's just one of those things that, like, they're aesthetically one of my favorite bands, but also musically, like subject matter. I really enjoy Keith's writing. Whereas you know me, I'm not a big lyrics guy. But like two of my favorite bands have, I think, some of the best lyrics, or two of the best lyricists. As far as like funny, one of the best things about rap I love is the punchlines. The fact that, like, how many rappers will use a punchline to a bar or something like that and kind of work backwards. I feel like two of my favorite lyricists, Fat Mike from NoFX and Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die, have very clever lyrics and also like have really, really great senses of humor. So it kind of really, I think humor makes everything better. And Every Time I Die is a band that definitely has a silly side to them. And obviously NoFX is fucking 90% silly. Those guys are weird. Look for my NoFX album counts.
I was getting ready for this move down to Texas. I'm like going through stuff and organizing it, and I was looking through my books to possibly sell them and shit, and I forgot I got the NoFX book, and it's just
I'll buy that.
What was it? I'll just give it to you. Yeah, I'll just give it to you. You fucking idiot.
$5. I did. I paid to find out.
I'll buy it off. No, you won't. I'll give it to you, dumbass.
Bathtub and other stories.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's a big part too about Every Time I Die. There was always this like tongue-in-cheek nature to them, where they'd be doing very intense shit, and then like this is actually segues into what I wanted to ask you, and we will talk about this album at some point, but it's the first, it's the first one. We kind of want to we want to contextualize our love for Every Time I Die for you beautiful people. But no, so my first time getting into Every Time I Die was actually not on this album, the next album, and which I was very happy that I basically like got into these boys on the ground floor, more or less, like, second album, but still most people, if you ask them, you'd be like, yo, what's your favorite album? A lot of people go back to Hot Damn. So Hot Damn is a real ground floor album for a lot of people. And yeah, I was Bro, I remember I actually got into Every Time I Die on a very interesting age of the internet. It was pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
It was pre-YouTube, and it was at that point where like a lot of websites had video, but it wasn't yet like they didn't find like because when YouTube came around, they were basically like, oh, this is the best way. Like, you guys figured out video the best. There's like people with flash players were dickheads now. Like, they kind of figured it out. By the way, speaking of YouTube, for everyone on YouTube, Pat is ripping cigs and nothing else. Yeah, he's just fucking one quick hit of cig, and then he's back to podcasting. Ooh, I need one more.
I'm trying to quit. So I put it out in between.
I just need one more quick hit of a cig, and then get the hell out of here. Yeah.
Sorry about that. If there was any confusion. And honestly, guys, I'm trying to quit cigarettes. So that's another positive message for you. Stay in school.
Hell yeah. Stay in school. But like stay in school to break the rules.
But
also,
marijuana, just not connected to any of that. Marijuana is legal.
Pat.
Huh?
Oh yeah, it is legal. But like, what would a crazy person say about marijuana?
That it's not a drug. It is.
Yeah.
It is a Schedule 1 narcotic, and it is as serious as cocaine.
Oh my god!
It's really bad. So don't do drugs.
Someone's been smoking too many cigarettes. His short-term memory's going.
I've had a lot of cigarettes. Sorry about that, guys.
So I was on. This was before like YouTube was the standard for video player and shit like that. And you'd have like random different flash players or whatever the fuck they were called. And I remember being on some it was like some music website that would just like randomly, you'd go on and they just randomly show you videos. And at the time, I wasn't really, this was around like middle school. I hadn't gotten into a lot of heavy music. I think we've talked about it before on the main podcast, which if you guys are new to the channel, we have a podcast we stream on here every Sunday. It's called Drag the Lake. Check it the fuck out. If you like us on here, you'll enjoy us on there. But so I've talked about it. My first intro to anything heavy outside of just standard metal was actually specifically one of the early Thrice albums where Thrice would actually do metal riffs and kind of scream a little bit. So I didn't have, that was like the most, it's funny. Yeah. There was a time in my life where Thrice was the heaviest band to me. That's a weird statement to say. And then I'm on this website that's randomly showing me different music. And then I hear the opening riff to Ebola-Rama, that, or however the fuck it goes. I'm bad at recall like that, but like, and I just hear that, and then he starts yelling, and the song's really chaotic, like all over the place. Like I'm mainly listening to pop punk that has the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, like a very standard song structure. And then I'm presented with Every Time I Die, just going like, you can actually do whatever you want. And me being like, wait, this is an option. So I got introduced with Every Time I Die in a very big, like, here it is. And then being like, yo. And it was basically off to the races. I got hardcore into them. I've talked about this before. I went to saw them at Warped Tour. Enjoyed the hell out of them. Walked by their stand. Jordan was sitting there. I went to go shake his hand, and he wouldn't get up from his chair. He just kind of like put his hand out and like whatever, which at the time I took that the most personal I've ever taken anything. And no bullshit, stopped listening to them for a couple years.
I don't understand that.
Because I was in high school and I took that so fucking personally. And then I grew up and I was like, yeah, Warped Tour was the fucking worst. You're out in the sun all day. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Also, he doesn't have to be fucking jumping and clicking his heels just to meet me or whatever. But yeah, I remember being in high school, took that so fucking personally and stopped listening to a band for a while. But then, came back in on them and they just became my absolute fucking favorite band. When did you get in on these guys?
So my introduction to them, I think was I feel like it was a compilation for Hellfest. I think it might have been a compilation DVD of like Hellfest performances, and
yeah, those were sick.
it was something like that. And like I think it would do like they would do like a live performance and like a video. It might have been that. I can't. It might not have been. It's like this is was something I was going to bring up about Every Time I Die that I really loved. As far as marketing, they were the reason I became a Noah or a Every Time I Die fan was because of them, like of their marketing, like the fact that like with when I saw the first music video I saw for them was for The New Black from Gutter Phenomenon, and I was like the same thing that you said was like the same idea of like, oh, you can do whatever the fuck you want. This is crazy. Because I always was somebody who, if you had one of those names, I would judge a band by their name a lot of times before I ever like listen to them. At that time, I was really close-minded as a fan of music. It was kind of like, I don't know, fucking punk rock or fucking nothing. Maybe Slayer. You know, you know what I mean? I was the first ever casual Slayer fan. You know what I mean?
Dude, I can't tell you how many times I had that. And then what broke me of that is my favorite band at the time in high school became Bomb the Music Industry. And I've been on record. I thought that was a dumb fucking name, but they were the best band ever. So I stopped. So after that, whenever I'd come across a band where I was like, this name sucks, I go, but your favorite band has a shitty name, so who gives a fuck?
Yeah, so I two bands around that same time that I learned from like being exposed to them through either a compilation thing, because I was still like, I love Dillinger Escape Plan. Like, yeah, I'll check them out. Even though I wasn't super familiar with them, I was familiar with the name and I knew what I did hear, I love. So I was kind of seeking out the stuff that I already knew, and I was exposed to a lot of great bands. They were one of them. So I ended up buying, and I probably was a couple, maybe probably a year or so after they released Gutter Phenomenon. I would assume probably around 2007, 2008. So I was a little late on them around that time.
Yeah.
But Hot Damn quickly did become one of my favorite albums of theirs out of all of those. But I saw that I got Gutter Phenomenon used at a CD store in Pinellas County, Florida. Shout out to Sound Exchange. And
shout out Sound Exchange.
And they had the fucking DVD with it. So like I got Gutter Phenomenon, and it came with, I can't remember what the name of that one was, but it was just a compilation of their tour shit. Like all the stuff from there was probably footage of Jordan fucking giving you the old fuck you with the hands.
Oh, you know, dude, what I mean? They had a whole segment of like this dickhead.
Because I had the same exact feel when there was one like bit in the DVD where Jordan was like, "Hey, you guys want to go mash? Hey, you want to go mash?" And I was like, "What is he fucking making fun of us?"
Yes, I do.
Had the exact same. Yeah, like as a matter of fact, your music kind of makes me want to do that. So like, what's the fucking big deal? You're making fun of me, but it was like it was before I realized that kind of level of dry wit or humor or like just making fun of yourself, because if you see them up there, they are headbanging, they're fucking running around, they're not afraid to look fucking rad as hell. And so they I don't know if they could beat me up, but they had the same feel of those kids that would go to those shows and take their shirts off and look great. And you're just like, fuck you guys. You're beautiful and you're talented, and you're just like, I can't argue it anymore. I love Every Time I Die. And I think that's it.
Yeah, it's really starting to occur to me that like you're like, yeah, I just found out they were a band last year. I've just been looking at pictures of them the whole time.
Holy, these guys play music?
Wait, they don't just get me horny, they play music too? That's so funny. All right, so let's bring up real quick the Wikipedia, because that's what we did on the Dance Gavin Dance, and it seemed to be helpful for people to sort of lock them in. But let's start out with Every Time I Die. And yes, we are going to skip the burial plot by Bidding War. I always said Bidding War because I am dumb.
Yep.
But yeah, Burial Plot, Bidding War, that's a big pile of trash. And the band has been on record. There's a great video of them. I want to say it's probably like 5+ years ago whenever this video came out, and they're just going through their albums and rating their albums, and they wouldn't even give the Burial Plot Bidding War a rating. They were just like, we just don't acknowledge that exists.
Wow.
So if they don't acknowledge it exists, we're not gonna either.
I guess not, but like, is there? Are you have any personal, like? I guess we can just quickly go over our thoughts of it. You don't like it personally at all?
It's fine. It's interesting. It's interesting as a part of the Every Time I Die history, but on its own, I just like the whole time thinking about doing this, I'm like, I don't want to listen to that because it's just. I mean, maybe it'll be worthwhile. I'll see. You know what? Comment down below if you want us to go through it, and we'll tack it on the end or some shit like that. Because it's like, you know, it might be worth just in the historical context of everything with this band and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like if this band was a fucking a comic book or a book or whatever, you'd be like, that's not canon. You know, they don't even. No one's gonna acknowledge that. Like, I bet you Every Time I Die still like they probably still play. What's the name of the fucking song? Like Logic of Crocodiles. They probably still that was like the big song off this album. They probably still play, well, they're not a band anymore, but when they were active, they I hate that reality of them not being a band. But no, like when they were active, I guarantee you they still threw out Logic of Crocodiles from time to time, you know, which is actually impressive for a band that's been going on that long to still have cuz like if they busted out, even like at the last year of them being a band, if they busted out Logic of Crocodiles, like everyone's gonna get hyped for that one.
Yeah, that,
you know, that's in canon.
I feel like but like Bad Religion has that whole album, that Prague album that we talked about on the show, about like that they don't even acknowledge or anything either. But like I listened to it, it is bad. They're right. But it's also like it's still a Bad Religion album. Like I appreciate the fact that Every Time I Die is willing to say this is some art that we put out that we can't defend. We don't like it. You know what I mean? But that kind of goes. It's still an album. You know what I mean? It's still part of their history and shit like that. Like you said, but nobody's going to go to the and also, by the way, it's a EP. You know, so
yeah. Well, maybe we'll check it out. Maybe if they want us to, we'll check it out. But no, and actually, the way they talk about this album, and that was always another part. That was always another part of what made me enjoy this band, because you felt like whether it was good or bad, you felt like they were being real with you. So that's why, you know, we made jokes earlier, and we've done it a million times on this podcast. We're making jokes about Keith in the bathtub and stuff. But like every time this band presents themselves to you, you feel like they're presenting themselves to you in a very honest way. So all jokes aside, it's like I'd rather this than there's some fucking bands that present themselves one way, and then down the line 10 years later you're like, oh, they were all monsters behind the scenes and shit like that. And you're like, I'd rather. I'm not even saying Every Time I Die are dickheads. They all seem pretty chill, you know, except that one time in high school, Jordan. No.
Also, that time you're making fun of us for moshing, you fucking piece of shit. You like
you like fucking. You spin on stage with your guitar. You like moshing.
Fucking headbang, rock. You fucking rock. We rock. We like to rock too. Just doing
yeah, they just always have been a band that you feel like they're presenting themselves to you just in a very genuine way, and I'll take that every single time over like the contrived bullshit. It's like I'm just remembering all the times you like watch them in interviews and watch I ended up getting like two or three of their two of their DVDs. Like every time you watch them, you're just like, oh yeah, they're just fucking real dudes, and that's really nice.
My friend Elliot, shout out to Elliot Hyman, real last name. He and I watched one of their DVDs together. It might have been the one for Big Dirty, or it might have been the one that came with Gutter Phenomenon. I don't know for sure, but I showed him Every Time I Die. I was like, you will love these guys, not only musically but also their personalities and everything. And there's a scene where Andy is eating. He has like 5 or 6 tacos in front of him, and he proceeds to eat. And these are not Taco Bell tacos. These are like taco restaurant tacos, like to go.
Oh, with a little bit of extra oomph to them.
Yeah, and they're bigger ones too, right? So like he takes the taco, puts a little sauce on it, and fucking goes bam, all one bite. Takes another taco, puts a little sauce on, like all one shot, bam. How's like just keeps going. So that proceeded Elliot and I to challenge ourselves to one bite challenges of first Taco Bell tacos, then Whopper Juniors, then see how fast we could eat a Tostino pizza in under an amount of time. So like Andy Williams helped my obesity. How long? It was already there, but it's just grow.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. All right, man. Let's read this Wikipedia and then get into this damn thing. Yeah. So this is early years, Burial Pop Bidding War, and Last Night in Town, 98 to 2000. The band was established by Jordan Buckley, Andy Williams, and Michael Novak. Oh, also, yeah, I just remembered that. Similar to Dance Gavin Dance, not as crazy, but pretty regular lineup changes for this band.
Yeah.
Still having like the core 3, which is Andy, Jordan, and Keith, but you got a lot of dudes going in, coming out, coming back, all this other shit. Lots of lineup changes with this band. They added Keith Buckley on vocals and bassist John McCarthy. They played their first show in Hamilton, Ontario.
Whoa.
In their first short tour covering the Buffalo, New York, and Toronto, Ontario, Canada vicinity, the band met good fellow record producer Chris Logan, who released the band's debut EP, The Burial Plot Bidding War, in December 1999. The band also contributed an exclusive song for the Red Star Records various artist compilation, The Sound and Fear, released in October 99. Following year, Aaron Ratzak, hopefully I said that right, replaced McCarthy as bassist.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Wasn't he Rat Boy?
No, it says on bass. Rat Boy was the drummer.
Whoa.
Oh, and Rat Boy was the other thing. So, Rat Boy was the other thing, going back to like them being just coming off like real dudes. I remember reading when Gutter Phenomenon came out, I read an article about that. They were like they were on the cover of Alternative Press, and they had an article, and they were asking them about, because at the time, I guess, like, Rat Boy was out of the band, or no, it was the bassist. They kicked their bassist out of the band. And I forget exactly how they said it, but it essentially amounted to, you're like, yeah, that dude was just like a fucking dick, and like no one liked him. Yeah. And it always just came off. And you see this a lot of times. It's you hear people talk about with Shane with comedy and stuff. It's that thing where you're like, yeah, he just seems like one of my buddies. Yeah, and like, he just seems like a real person you'd hang out with. And then, following year, Aaron replaced McCarthy on bass, and the band entered Zing Studios in Westfield, Massachusetts, to begin recording their debut full-length for Ferret Records in January 2001. What's going on with Ferret Records? They were like a banger of a fucking record label back in the day.
Yeah, didn't they have Converge early on?
They had to have, right? Because Ferret, now, what I loved about Ferret, and I see this like with so when I basically on YouTube, I subscribe to as many record labels as I can, and I just kind of like try every Friday when they put out new music, I try to listen to it, then we bring it to the pod and kind of talk about what's good and what's bad every week. And my favorite thing is there's some record labels now, like there's this one called Closed Casket Activity. That's one where basically if they post something, there's a 90 to 95% chance I'm gonna like it.
Yeah.
And a good record label to me, that's how Ferret Records was back in the day. if you were like into heavy music and shit, like metalcore and hardcore and stuff like that, if Ferret Records was like, we're putting out an album, you'd be like, oh, I'll just get it because I'll probably like it.
Yeah.
What's happening now, I've been noticing, well, or the reason that rules is because a record label, same thing with like Fat Records, they got a certain type of identity, and you'd be like, oh, I know what kind of shit they put out. This is going to be good. The record label that is bumming me out that they're kind of losing that is actually Epitaph Records. Epitaph used to, for me back in the day, I was like, if Epitaph is putting it out, I'm going to check it out. And now I'll put it in the nicest way possible, but everything I see from Epitaph is them just trying to be like, is this what's trendy? I don't know. And it's just, they're kind of losing. It's like when Warped Tour, not to be one of these fucking old cranky guys, but when Warped Tour just kept having all the like electronic pop acts, it just started to like slowly lose its identity to be like, well, is this just a festival of people not on a major label? Like, what is this?
Yeah, like, because at the like Warped Tour was always the thing that was supposed to be the music festival that wasn't like the other mainstream music festivals. So like it was always. So when you have like bands like, I don't know, like again, like you're saying, mainstream bands and shit like that, where it's like, who are you marketing this to? Like at this point, you're having a pop group like at Warped Tour. It doesn't make sense at all, because it's not even like, if they haven't. I remember, I think Black Eyed Peas at the fucking Warped Tour one year, and I was just like, huh? But it was just kind of like, it's still when they said retarded, so it was okay. But like but Ferret Records, shout out to
Ferret. You guys singing about me?
Yeah, I was just like, huh?
They're just pointing at. They're just pointing at you. This guy's retarded in here. This guy's retarded in
This guy's. Write that down. No. So Ferret Records, right? This is this is every band almost that I listen to, including one band that only put out one release. I've mentioned them a couple times. Shout out to Martyr AD. The one release that they had Ferret Records. So Nora is another band that I listen to all the time. Aileen and the Sons of Disaster was another big band back in that day. Heavy Low, Shadows Fall, Chimera, Poison the Well, Devil Wears Prada, Misery Signal,
Static Lullaby,
Switch Engage, Zayo. Like they were, like you said, they were a huge chunk of metalcore in my life at that time. You know what I mean? Hardcore.
Actually, looking at them, like they had a lot of good bands, and they had a handful of like pretty big ones for the genre and shit like that.
Yeah.
So yes, this is their first album, Last Night in Town. I'll say this, not my top album, but it's definitely a fun one to go back and listen to in the context of where they went, you know?
Yeah. I kind of like it. This album, whenever I listen to this one, it really does bring me back to listening to these. This is 2001. This is prime fucking, like, just like budding hardcore, right? You know, like this is a couple years after Shape of Punk to Come comes out. This is like what else came out? This Opposite of December came out this year, or 99, I think. 99 and 2001 are two big years I remember, like media wise, music, movies, TV shows. Like in my life, my personal life, I remember a lot of like big shit happening in 99 and 2001. Not so much 2000. No. 2001 and 99. Like it's every other year. And this is a band I think we're going to see, like, Every Time I Die followed that trend where consistently, like every other year, put out great fucking art. And it doesn't mean they weren't doing anything in that time. They were just working nonstop, putting out more shit. So I'm excited to get into this because this always makes me nostalgic for other music in that time. Like reading the name Nora, that band, I haven't thought about them in a while. I fucking love that band. Nobody Takes Pictures of the Drummer, dude. That's one of my favorites. I listen to that song on repeat for probably all of 2001, most likely, or 99. I can't remember.
All right, here we go. Let's listen to this album. Let's start off with Emergency Broadcast Syndrome.
I hate this city. Reposition the victim, rigid reflected time, situated like a makeshift antenna, getting rented. We're losing ourselves. We can't pick up the game. I should be discontented of a broadcasting embarrassment. Decoding the transmitted world that depends on the left. I'm not receiving a sign that I'm still here anymore. Do you really? Am I coming through it all? Is any of this making sense? Does any of this making sense? Is any of this making sense to you? You got a ghost on your hands. A television will limit. Only partially blind. I wish you'd all just shut up when you want to. Spinning and dancing and dancing. Something's grabbing for us. You should have lost your cool. You should have lost your cool.
All right, so that's just gonna have a cool segue into Jimmy Tango Method. But yeah, out of the gate, for me, real good song to like start off. It's really funny, like for me, like I was saying before, first time I got into this band, the heaviest shit I heard was a fucking like thrice metal riff.
Yeah.
And at the time, like when you played this to me, it would basically be the equivalent of you telling me to like, yo, Andy, fucking spin on this bat and try to run the bases. Like that's how my head would, but it was like exciting. And now I'm listening to it like, oh, I can hear what's going on. And that's, I think, why I get so excited for new music. I think some people, they kind of get locked into their own thing and vibe out there. I'm constantly, for me, looking for the new thing because I remember how good that feeling was hearing this band for the first time, going, what the fuck is this? And you find a new song, you enjoy the hell out of it, but then you start to recognize the song and know the parts, and it's not as like crazy and nudie anymore. So it's like this makes me think of like my never-ending journey to find the next thing and the next song and shit like that.
Yeah, I think both of us being scatterbrained little weirdos growing up, kind of like this really speaks to us because there's such a chaotic, but like there's like it's like a fun fucking weird chaos. Like it's so both of us identify with this fucking this song so much. Like I feel, or this album really, just that kind of fucking like I don't know. It's and also I was big into Unearth at this time too. It reminds me, like I was talking about nostalgia and shit. They're still probably my all-time favorite like metal band, and early Unearth sounds so similar to this, but like
really?
It's weird to see where like they split off, where they both kind of stayed somewhat in the metal realm, but like Unearth kind of goes so much more traditional metal, and Every Time I Die gets into this very specific I don't know, niche metal. It's like they're both metalcore and they kind of both splurge from this little amoeba and shit like that, but they kind of had these like Unearth kind of bridges and like chugs in this song that kind of reminded me of them. Like it's a really cool, I don't know, man. It's just, you're right.
Cool.
Yeah. I can't believe, I couldn't imagine if this was the first song I heard by them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. My first intro, like I said, was Hot Damn, but Hot Damn is just a minorly reeled in version of this. This is probably the most chaotic and hectic Every Time I Die gets. But yeah, Hot Damn's a slightly more reeled in version. Yeah. Also, good, like, it's also interesting hearing how the production used to be. And I think this almost in a weird way has a slight similarity to like old Norma Jean, about where it's like they're not like, they do have technical riffs, but it is a little bit more about the chaos. So this was, what did I say this was, like 2001 this came out. So, and they're also on Ferret Records, I'm assuming isn't at like that, like super big then. And even at Ferret Records height, I'm sure they're not, they're still just a big indie. So they probably don't have a crazy budget for this and anything, but this style of, like early Norma Jean, this style of sort of crazy all over the place, it doesn't get hindered. Because I always say, if you have the means and you're in a hardcore band, try to go for the higher production, because it is such a crazy style of music that having more precise, clear recording will just be more beneficial for the audience. But with this style of playing being so, I don't want to say sloppy because it's not sloppy, but it is this almost, it's like muddy or whatever the fuck. It's just grit. Yeah. It has more grit to it. The lower level recording quality doesn't actually hurt it.
Yeah, the vocals have this fuzz to it, but there's also a clear vocal, and like, you know what I mean? Like, also Keith's voice, like I always kind of thought like, oh, his voice has gotten so great. It's always been really good. Like it's always fit this band really well, but it's also been very consistently good. It's always, I don't think he like, and I don't mean to say he didn't get better, but I don't think it was as drastic as I remember.
You're 100% right about that, because I think it's because like Later Every Time I Die has some songs where he's just singing. He's not yelling or screaming or anything.
A piano. And, oh man.
Yeah. So Later Every Time I Die, because it has songs that lean heavier on him singing, you forget like he was still good at it. He just didn't do it as much.
And also, like, we sound like a couple grandmothers. Keith, your voice is so beautiful. Why don't you sing more? Why don't you let them hear you sing more? Why do you always gotta go that rah, 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 rah stuff?
Here, let's keep it moving. This next one, Jimmy Tango Method.
Well, woo.
Oh, and I will say this. Sorry to stop it on you, but we just because of the way StreamYard is, we have to do it on YouTube rather than Spotify. So I can't show you the lyrics, but I do implore you, have a lyric tab open to the side, because nothing better than some Keith Buckley lyrics.
Oh yeah.
Disinfected flag, running lost to the champions. Let's see come down, our time is beautiful. These fights, and at you. Down to your mind, by the fingerprints on your throat. As it seemed lovely, as it seemed wonderful, like the ones that we are, sliding flat from the wounds we design. This is not about you. Paranoia is the disease of the alone. This is beauty, a singing concern for the chances of flesh. I keep my skin behind the ground. I keep my baby gone in a cloud.
Hell yeah. Jimmy Tango Method. The good old days where you could just write a song about tying a bitch up.
Yeah.
Dude, like, it was so funny because I was like, oh yeah, guys, don't make sure you read the lyrics. And it just sent me back to early 2000s. Like, obviously this isn't emo, but sent me back to just early 2000s emo lyrics. Like, this is the perfect part. If you don't wake up, I'll have to stop kissing you. All the flailing has made you sleepy. It's just like, dude, you could just put, now obviously, like, you know, Keith Buckley, very poetic man. There's like deeper meanings, yada, yada, yada. So this isn't,
consent.
What?
The dude loves consent.
Yes. So fucking goddamn, he's hardcore about consent. But like, it reminds me more of a little bit like sloppier, more overt bands, like especially in the emo realm, where it was literally like you could tell in the writing process they were like, oh, a girl broke up with me, I will write a song about murdering her. It's just, and you could just fucking like, dude, I saw someone, do you remember these, like Asking Alexandria had all those like graphic tees with the big lettering that were just like, tell your fucking stupid whore girlfriend I fucked her ass, like just shit like that. You could just put that on a shirt and just 15-year-olds will just buy it and go to the mall.
Yeah, it works.
Early 2000s was a crazy time.
Marketing was in their nature at that time. Again, merch is always been a big deal, but I feel like this song reminds me of a conversation we had right before this about both times us feeling a bit made fun of by these boys, these Every Time I Boys, Jordan specifically. But I realized in this song, the second song on the album, and the peak. This is what, 2001, right? Peak.
Yeah.
Where breakdowns are fucking killer. Like everybody's dancing now. They're doing spin kicks, everything. It's like the 1950s.
The war had just ended. We were all upbeat, so our spin kicks were extra big.
Headline: 2001. We've all survived Y2K.
Yeah, we stopped doing the Charleston and we started doing spin kicks.
But the trolling is in their nature, dude. They do this. They do a chug psych out in this one where they have that, you know, the part where they go chug,
Yeah.
chug, and they go and
dude, that's so funny. I never looked at that as a psych out, but it kind of is. Like that is the lead up to the most brutal, slow, drudging breakdown you ever heard, and then they go, nope, we're gonna noodle.
And you know what they did? I'm sure they did live. And because again, we know these boys. They went up there, and Jordan specifically probably went like, you know, did one of these to get everybody hyped up. They probably stopped, big stop. They probably were like,
side to fucking side.
Like they probably had the tech turn up the guitars really loud at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then like, which still fucking rules, but like it's the vibe in the room had they were ready to fucking tear it up. And they're we're gonna run again. Okay, we're running again. Got it.
Speaking of live, this actually reminds me. You were talking about Hellfest. That was one of the Like, there was a lot of videos back in the day, but they were all horrible. Not even cell phone footage. Like, if someone brought their camera, their, like, you know, photo camera with a fucking video setting on, they could get horrible footage on that one. But no, so you'd have to hope that they played Hellfest or something like that, where they had a professional setup. That's like, you know, if I could hit them with a little kids these days, be thankful of fucking Hate 5-6, that beautiful commie, and like fucking, what are the other ones? Stay Thick and 197, whatever there's a bunch of channels now that they just bring a high quality camera and a good recording setup, and you just have high quality footage of all the bands. Nah, dude, like back in the, I'm gonna sound old and hit you with a back in my day, but dude, you'd have to hope they played fucking Hellfest or some shit to get a high quality recording. But yeah, they were playing Hellfest, and that part at the end where it's like they finally get to the breakdown. I remember that part specifically. Like, it was some crazy shit where it was like right when the breakdown hit, Keith jumps into the crowd. He's trying to hold on to the mic with dear life, so you can hear in the mic the whole crowd hitting that line together. This was a banger of one. I like this one too because it's kind of giving you hints of later Every Time I Die, because it's still sticking to like the parts are still kind of standardized, but then the in-between segues kind of change it up and make it feel a little bit different and almost in a weird way tease what the band's going to eventually sound like more.
Yeah, like the split second time change, the split second, like the stops, the fucking every part of it. Like these are all like, again, this is the time when these were starting. Like this was happening. Like these, like the panic chords, your break like this way, like the big breakdown, the really big breakdowns. And like I do appreciate the troll in the song, and I appreciate the fact that I never realized it was so much about, it was one of those stereotypical I'm gonna tie a bitch up and just until she loves me.
She loves me.
Yeah, and then I'll kill her.
It's like it's like the greatest Mike Tyson quote, "I'll fuck you till you love me, F word." I will say this, actually, now that you're talking about the panic chords, it does remind me of a lot of bands. It's so funny when a new thing catches on, and then you have those bands that just abuse it. And then you have bands like Every Time I Die who go like, we're going to use it just the right amount.
Yeah. They're again, and I think there's also a couple bands that whether it is every song, because again, a lot of these bands were using it in every song. And I'll eat it up. It's one of those things that even nowadays I don't give a shit. Give it to me. Give me a chug 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 chug. Like those weird breakdowns, the weird chuggy breakdown, like intro, or what would you call it? Like basically them like going into the breakdown, that time signature when like one band member would go up and kind of like introduce, like, all right, guys, here's what it's going to be. Chug, 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 chug. And then the drummer would start. It was like you're at fucking Stomp.
That formula was so good. No, that formula, I know. Okay, now I realize what you're talking about.
Like they're like, this is it. This is what we're going to do, guys. Ready?
You're like, guys, get ready. We're about to do our shoehorned in breakdown. Fucking A Day to Remember became the fucking masters of that. And I will unapologetically listen to every fucking old A Day to Remember song. But yeah, no, it would be they'd hit the open note, and then you'd either hear, it'd be one or two things. You'd either hear the guitar come in or the drums come in.
Yeah.
And then everyone would start doing it together. And then the part you would know it was really time that the breakdown was happening, you'd start to notice the bass drum would speed up. And then he'd start hitting like, yeah. All right. I'm hyped for some more early 2000s.
Go.
Next song, here's Looking at You.
Me?
This is a restaurant. You find the crying from the silent sound that sleeps and breath, saturated in alcohol. So seductive, built in through tobacco. So fucking it's
Hell yeah, dude. That song to me is, we brought it up earlier, but that is the, so far out of the first three we've listened to, it's like the first showing of what we were saying before. Yeah. We can do whatever we want. Cause bro, that song was 3 minutes and 42 seconds. I don't know if it went 30 seconds without like staying the same thing. Like it would go maybe 20 seconds and they'd be like, all right, we're going to do a new thing. And it's so funny. But like it's really crazy how shit just comes together. Cause I talked about this a bunch listening to Dance Gavin Dance, where with it's like they had the funky, like the kind of funk stuff, but then they have like heavy shit, and they have a clean singer who's got a really good range and good vocals, and then they also have a screamer who will scream over the funk stuff, and you're like, on paper, you're like, oh, that just shouldn't work. And in a similar vein, you know, you have stuff like this where it's like they're going crazy and all over the place, and it's really fast and it's switching all over the place, and the vocal lines are kind of, on this song specifically, are a little bit more drawn out. And you're just like, dude, how does that match up? And similar to like Dance Gavin Dance, you're like, yeah, on paper it seems a little bit fucking weird, but in execution it fucking hits. And yeah, this one definitely made my ADHD a little bit more severe, because it's just all over the fucking place in the best way possible. How'd you feel about it, Pat?
Also, I thought you were going to bring this up. Like, I thought the same thing about it. Reminded me, like you were saying, this to me is the first full showing of like who they are going to be as a band. Like you know how we like talk about how bands can like start writing after a while their signature style of writing songs. They're able to write like you hear the song and you go, Every Time I Die, but then you're also like, but even though it reminds you of a lot of the other songs that they've written, it doesn't sound like it. It's not like a Ramones thing where you're like, oh, they have like 3,000 or 4,000 songs that sound exactly the same. Yeah. Like it feels like Every Time I Die. This one is where like they have that kind of like everybody's just fucking like it's almost like it's like you said, it's like that weird chaotic thing, but like they're playing with those the time signatures, they're playing with the lyrics, they're playing with whatever it is. Like I couldn't keep up with the fucking lyrics on that. And then and just for some reason Chicago it's like one of those things where you're like, it's almost like when like you don't know how to end a sketch and you're just like, and then they all just blow up. Like I don't know, it's like one of those things of like we can do anything we want, but also like this is, I think, truly what they're finding what they should be. You know what I'm saying? Like this song, and it really does, like the pacing of this album so far feels like so. This does feel like a band that was like, we don't like. I would suspect, this is maybe just my suspicion. They don't like it. Obviously, you said that earlier. They didn't like what was the one right before this? The EP,
Burial Plot Bidding War.
Obviously, they didn't like that, but I'm sure that was probably thought to be like, okay, here's our intro, here's our like introduction to everybody, here's who we are, and they're like, we don't like this. This definitely feels like a really thought out introduction, like almost like a second first impression that they kind of feel like they're making, like where like the first song is like crazy, it's like, here's what you want to hear, here's what's going on right now, we're gonna fucking rip you a new one, motherfuckers. And then the next one they're like, also we like to have a little fun, we like to troll you a little bit. And
Chicago.
Then and then the third one they're just like, but also we can fucking here's a array of what we can do. Like this is one of the greatest like introduction full-length albums I can think of, like pacing wise so far, that I can remember to date. Seriously, like full-length albums, you know?
Yeah, this is just a big, well, you can hear it too musically. Like this had to have, bro.
It's not. It's chaotic.
Hey. You get your hands on this. You get your hands on this in 01. You're like, what the fuck?
Right.
But at the same time, I gotta be honest. You give this to a kid now, and they're gonna go, what the fuck?
Right, because it's chaotic. It's definitely it's hitting your ears, and you're like, this is crazy chaos. But you're like, but they all stopped exact. You know what I mean? It's on a dime, like multiple times. Like it's not chaos. It's not as dramatic chaos as like Dillinger Escape Plan.
I was just gonna bring them up.
Right, because again, they're having fun. Like Dillinger Escape Plan, famously not fun. They're not. Yeah. They don't. Those guys are allergic to fun.
Well, I'm pretty sure Dillinger Escape Plan was set up in the 40s to decode Nazi messages.
Okay,
because because basically what happened, you play the coded Nazi message, and then Dillinger Escape Plan plays that, and the message goes fine and just reveals itself.
Yeah, this is. If you actually play a Dillinger Escape Plan song backwards, it actually will connect you to internet.
What am I? That's so funny. If your modem's going too slow, you play.
For anybody listening, to everybody watching this, they're like, "Hey, an album from 2001." Love that joke just now.
Dillinger Escape Plan was also part of one of my personal favorite tweets I've ever had, where I go, being in Dillinger Escape Plan is the most amount of effort to get no pussy. Dude,
you want to be in a band and not be attractive to women?
Oh my god, you're just trying so hard to just get a bunch of dudes going, wow, that's really hard to do. Wow, that's crazy. What was that chord?
I'll suck your dick.
I'll suck your dick, Mr. Dillinger.
Mr. Dillinger, can I suck your dick, sir?
Mr. Escape Plan, I'll suck your dick.
I'll suck Mr. Dillinger or the Escape Plan. Any of you guys.
You go up to them. Mr. Dillinger and the Escape Plan. Could I fuck any of you guys?
You're ringing your trucker hat in your hand. Mr. Dillinger or the Escape Plan, could I suck your dicks?
Your shit's so complicated and it makes me so stressed out. Dude, I legit was listening to Dillinger. Dude, I was listening to Dillinger like a week ago, and I think I got
43% burnt, right?
What?
43% burnt. Isn't that yeah. It's nuts.
No, and I was how'd you know that's what I was listening to?
I think you posted something about that song giving you your flaring your ADHD or something like that.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay. God.
But no, I
really tweet every single fucking thought I have.
I think I liked it though, and I'll tell you again. Hey, I like it.
I don't know. I like tweeting about that stuff because I want that one guy who knows the band to go, "Hey!"
I want that modem joke to hit somebody. If you like that modem joke, hit me up.
Comment down below,
please.
We will not be doing Dillinger Escape Lane reactions. I will not do that.
Can't do that. I can't. I love those guys. I love them. I love those guys, really. But I can't do that. I can't do nothing but Dillinger Escape Plan every week. After I just can't do that. I just can't.
That actually would be a challenge to no pause listen to a Dillinger album.
Before track 4. All right, on to track 5. Any thoughts? Nope, me neither. Track 5. Can we
literally everything would be us playing it, going, I don't know what the fuck happened. Next song.
I don't know how it makes me feel. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know their names. I think it's Dillinger and the Escape Plan.
No, but it is funny to compare the like this kind of shit to Dillinger, because you are right. It's like you're 2 steps away from, you're 2 layers of fun away from just being Dillinger. Like they still have enough fun where you're like, okay, we're still having fun. This isn't a homework assignment yet.
Sparkling water, and you're like, okay, we got Coors Light over here, and every time I die, you're like, okay, can I just go over there?
Dillinger's just like, no, we have water and Americanos.
I said I wanted squeezed lemon and hot water.
No, Dillinger is just whatever formulas they were doing in Oppenheimer. That's a Dillinger song,
right? Yeah, I'm sure they're fun, but they're way too smart for me to relate to. So I like the fact that Every Time I Die has that same level of musical excellence, but I feel like I unless we're trying to get a handshake or mosh with them, we're totally fine. Do we hate Jordan Buckley? Do we have to fight Jordan just to get through this? Because I feel like we both we just scratched up some feelings of really having some weird feelings about you know what, man, we like you guys. You make us feel good.
I have like 6 of your t-shirts. Shake my hand.
Shake my fucking hand.
Shake my fucking hand. Let's keep it fucking moving. Punch Drunk Punk Rock Romance.
So give me a kiss. Let me taste the reptilian appeal. I'll say it again.
So what's funny, I just noticed at the end of that song, so we're 4 songs in and we're starting now. I'm not about to shit on this song. Don't get me wrong. I'm not about to shit on this song, but we're starting to notice trends setting in. Because this is like the 3rd song that just ended with a obligatory breakdown, which is sick. Because like the way he hits it at the end, how punk rock is that? And then they go into the breakdown. Like the last one kind of did that, and I think the one of the 2 before did that. This was an interesting one because it had a lot more. It had these. So this is what I'm remembering about this album is there's like 2 types of songs. There's songs that sort of from like a rhythmic standpoint sit in the pocket the whole time and they just kind of move in and out of that, but they kind of stay rhythmically in the pocket in this one place. And then there's other songs like the last one we listened to that, it's 2 fun steps away from being a Dillinger song. So that's the big that's like the big separation. And the other part, that fucking the part in the beginning, you said it before, Keith's voice is goddamn beautiful.
Yeah. He's got some pipes on him. And I think this was a fun this kept making me feel like because you said to follow along with the lyrics and everything, and I wanted to do that. I fucked up on the last one, but this one I followed it, and I was like, this felt like a very special episode song. Like this was like, guys, I think Keith's got a problem. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this was realizing that Keith Buckley is, I believe, now sober, and that and that could have possibly contributed to some of the downfall of Every Time I Die, or at least the split between him and his brother and some of the other band members, possibly, as well as other things. But like as early as 2001, he's talking about the disorder, he's like reenacting, like obviously, and again, I'm sure there's some hyperbole in here and everything like that, but there's definitely some real conversations in 2001 that he's already having with his fucking girlfriend on the phone, of saying like, whether it's her disorder or his disorder or both of their disorders, having an issue with whether it's mental disorder or a substance problem or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's substance, but like just knowing how hard those motherfuckers go and how long I watched them fucking party like crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy to know that, like, just since then, back then, it was like already like I already have a problem drinking.
Well, it reminds me, yeah. Well, you saying bringing that back up again, it reminds me of I think this was right after he quit the band. He was doing these, like, he did a couple shows where they were like One Night with Keith, where it was just kind of talking. And I think he might have, because he does a lot of writing, he might have like read some of his writing and shit like that. I remember he was talking about how, and I obviously there's a million things happening that there was a million things probably happening that helped break up the band, but I think him getting sober was like a contributing factor, because I think he might have needed like he didn't it seemed like he didn't realize how much of a crutch that the alcohol was for him, and how much it contributed to bad shit that he didn't, how much it contributed to shit he didn't like about himself and stuff like that. And then I got to imagine, like, because they toured pretty regularly. They were putting, like you were saying before, they were always a great band where, every 3 years we're going to get a new Every Time I Die album. They were a very consistent touring and music writing band that, getting, because like you said, he was a dude who went fucking hard. And I know for me, like, if you were like, Andy, go do comedy and don't have at least a couple beers, I go, what the actual? Don't sip a beer while I say that.
What is this, Saudi Arabia? Fuck off.
No, for real though, I'd be like, what in the shit are you talking about? Right. So, doing that. And also on top of that, you got to imagine, you know, there's a bunch of great people in the music industry, but there's also, even the best people can be a little enabling from time to time. And you're known with around all those people as the dude who can fucking party. Dude, you're known as the dude who can fucking party. And now you're around that, just trying not to party. That had to have been so fucking hard.
Yeah, I think. Do you think there's any correlation between because you say something like him not realizing it's contributing to so many things that he doesn't like about himself? I don't, and not saying, I'm not calling him a bullshit piece of shit liar motherfucker, but like, okay. But honestly, I think he does. Like, he's writing about it right now. He's writing about it being a problem. And he's like, so I understand him not facing that issue earlier but I wonder, would you equate it with, because he's known for being the guy who fucking can go hard, who not only can deliver every other year a brand new album that fucking blows the other one out of the water, then tour that album, that tour blows the last tour out of the fucking water, continuously topping it. And would you equate it? I wonder if it's anything like how like a lot of comedians don't want to get like therapy or substance abuse help because they're like, well, that won't make me funny anymore. Or
it's like anything. Yeah, it's got to be anything with being artistic where
and then he quits.
You have that. You have it's like with anything, like with being artistic, you probably have that fear of like, I might. If I fix this, I might not be interesting anymore.
Right.
It's also too like he was probably in his 20s when he started this band, and you know you're just so used to like, oh, you're stressed because I get stressed out and I drink a little bit, and the thing about that is you can do that deep into your 20s before it really starts becoming a problem. You know, before it's like before because it starts off like, oh, just. It's like any drug. You go, I'll do a little bit of this, and then I feel fine. And then you get into your late 20s, and you realize, oh, I need a lot of this to feel fine. And if I don't do this, I spaz out because I've spent zero of my time learning healthy coping mechanisms. So I'm sure he knew this was a problem for a while, but you don't just, you don't like cold turkey ain't a real thing for a lot of people. And that's the reality. Like it's the same way. It's the same way as like no one really becomes a star overnight. There's always a lot of work before you become an overnight sensation. So even with cold turkey, there's a lot of fucking mental buildup and whatever the fuck that you got to get ready for yourself to actually do the cold turkey. So if we want to get technical about it, cold turkey's probably never act like technically cold turkey. Let's keep it moving. I think next one's a little bit of an interlude, but it's on the album, so we're going to listen to it. Enter Without Knocking and Notify the Police. There we go. Not yet. Sorry. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That one's cool because it's actually a good play off the fucking boring interlude. Now, don't get me wrong. It'd always be like, you'd be like, oh yeah, this one. Skip. We're going to Logic of Crocodiles. Yeah. But listen to it back. I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool because if you didn't notice, if you haven't fucking heard this album before, it's the fucking melody of, it's like the main riff melody of Logic of Crocodiles. So to kind of like preemptively give that to you in a different form, like, you're about to hear this, but let's give it to you in this form. That's like a cool play off the intro, or I'm sorry, an intermission, whatever the fuck you would call it, that a lot of albums have that usually sucks ass, and that's a good play off that.
It works practically in the live show. Like it's something like, well, before, like if Keith needs to like get some water, take a quick bath or something like that, he can go do that real quick while he's getting ready and then come back.
Go eat some trail mix in his private dressing room.
Yeah, it's not even drawn yet. He has to go back and he like starts the water, like puts his hand under. Okay, then he hits the stopper, and then like
we're gonna have to run it back again. He just found the right temp.
Yeah, they can do that. They can do that over and over again for as long that loop for as long as you need. That's DVD menu music right
there. Yo, it kind of is. Yeah. Hell yeah! All right, let's hop into the song, and we got a video this time.
We have a video. Eyes on the screen.
Video. children. Here we go. Logic of Crocodiles.
Silence operated, what company can afford. I have a very expensive plan. My youth was quite often it's something to say. Fundamentally equivalent word. I attribute this success to my professional demeanor and my time portfolio. Though I may not appear so, I am quite comfortable in life's abandon. I have everything. Let me show you around. Someone is like you fucker. It's how often you get this chance. What you be discussed after this? Thousands have been beaten. Promotion possibility and additional benefits will die in grounded life. Preliminary, objective online, raising ungranted, based on performance.
Hell yeah. Every Logic of Crocodiles. Good fucking time. I like the slightly more clear theme in that one, where all the like references to corporate shit and then like the specific logic of crocodiles. That one was, we had a lot of like, I'm killing this lady, yeah, and songs like that. And this one is a real more clear representation of that like tongue-in-cheek energy, like that snarky tongue-in-cheek energy that is very enjoyable because, and this is, I don't want to turn this to just pointing out what we don't like about Dillinger Escape Plan, but while Dillinger is great and they're fucking amazing.
Loosen up, you pussies.
What?
Loosen up, you fucking pussies.
But no, for real, they don't have like a let up. There's no let up to give you like, to let you breathe. And like, that's kind of what's so great about Every Time I Die is they have this levity to what is such hectic music.
Yeah. I think honestly, this song proved to me like no band builds anticipation like these guys. These guys they have their own brand of anticipation building, and to be doing this again on their first full-length album in this song. And again, I alluded to it a little bit earlier with the trolling, the breakdown a little bit. Sometimes it's not a troll. Sometimes it's just the structure of the song of almost like misdirections. Like, so like they have this weird thing where like this song just builds and builds and builds and builds, and it doesn't necessarily pay off the way that you want it to. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I love the way that this song is structured and the way that they structure most of, not all their songs.
Yeah.
But like they have I feel like they have their own specific brand of anticipation that they can build. And it's like, it's structured so much to their music. It's because like there's parts of this song that remind me, again, like we talked about that earlier too. They remind me so much of early 2000s metalcore because that's what they are. But they're but they're proving in this album that they're more than that they have like there's layers to what they can do and like how they present like early 2000s metal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And this song's a good representation of why like metalcore is a good label, but it's also like not enough because this is the first song. Like, I'm sure there were some weird time signatures in the other ones or shit like that, but this is the one with like overtly weird time signatures. Yeah. And may I say, weird time signatures that flow because it's one thing to just give me something that's complicated for the sake of it. For me, I want your weird time signature to flow and feel good. Like, I want it to, because that's the real test. Like, does this feel good even though it's in, because if it doesn't feel good, then it's like, don't do it. It's like, it feels like the weird time signature is pointless. You're just trying to show us how fucking like smart you are. Yeah,
this reminds me so much of early Norma Jean, of like that, like the in this song, like the breakdown, the like even the interlude before this reminds me of Norma Jean interludes, where they have almost that kind of, it's almost like Latin, like it, like seeming like it's like a like it could like have that weird, like,
okay, I see where your head's at.
Almost heard that in like Mars Volta songs before, you know what I mean? That same, that like if you're playing that on a different drum head, it could be completely different feel. So like they have this that same kind of groove to it.
Yeah.
But like it's also but they're adding different elements to it, and like
and
layering really well.
Yeah, and stuff like that can show like a broader influence in their songwriting.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting to see where they break. You know what I'm saying? Like where they all stay within the metal genre, the metalcore even, but like they all, each kind of carve their own. Like Norma Jean kind of stays in their own path. Every Time I Die goes and structures their own path, and like it's really interesting to see the similarities so early on that I didn't really realize. Like that's how it got me, was like the fact that like, oh, this is like Norma Jean, but like different. You know what I mean? Like or this is like Every Time I Die, but like different. You know what I mean? Like it has to remind me of something somehow, but it's still knowing what Every Time I Die becomes. It's so interesting to hear their personality come through the metalcore influence in this album. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Hold on, let me get my head right out of my ass real quick. And okay, next.
Pat, you don't have to apologize. You first off, shove that head right back up there. We're recording ourselves talking about a band's album like anyone should give a shit. Our heads are shooting right up our own asses.
Hey, what do you think of this album 23 years ago, huh?
Yeah, hey, you guys don't know us, but you're gonna want to hear what we have to say for 2 hours straight. And eventually we'll convince you to give us money. Not yet. We're not big enough.
Yeah, like we're getting monetized, and that honestly, that's what this is a flex, because honestly, we're playing all this fucking copywritten music. No, we're not getting paid for this shit. We're doing this on our own time, bitch.
We're just doing this.
I mean, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
All right, Pincushion.
Oh no.
Where the frozen blood turn to an empty wound. Don't rise, they died. They found them gliding soon. Die, steps to nowhere. Down the sea, climbs through. So much by
song again was Pin Cushion. Yeah, man, good shit. Definitely sits in the pocket of like what they've sort of established their song on this album. I will say it like sonically, it kind of it sonically fits in with everything else. Just sort of going like, hey, what you just heard, here's a new version of what you just heard, but it's still fucking great. There's a lot of but yeah, I think personality wise, it doesn't necessarily stick out from the rest of the, like, structurally it sticks out, but like vibe wise it's kind of, but you get that a lot of times on first albums, a very, very specific, consistent vibe throughout the whole album. One thing, oh yeah, 2 notes I wrote down. I'm being a little professional. One, on the beginning of this song, it happened early, it happened on one of the first 2 songs, but this album, you get a nice little treat of Keith trying out little vocals and then realizing like, I'm not good at that. I'm never going to do that again. Cause there's like two parts in the beginning where he, I wouldn't call it a guttural, but he's going for that low, like, and his voice, I think, is a little too high to hit that properly. And this was also the early 2000s where, you know, you got dudes like fucking, what was his name? Burt McCracken or whatever, the guy from The Used. And then you got the guy from Avenged Sevenfold. And because people don't know how to scream right, so everyone's fucking up their voices. This was a huge trial and error period for screaming, because it was doing it properly was a new concept. I don't know if anyone was really doing it properly. And yeah, and the other part was, we do need to talk about the guitar mix, because I'm listening to it more closely, remembering like, oh yeah, Every Time I Die, the way they mix guitars is much better than most bands, just by like, because a lot of times when I feel like when bands mix guitar, they'll get, you know, they have when it's 2 guitars, each will be prominent in each ear, but it'll only be like 75% prominent, and then you still hear the other one. Every Time I Die is like being bold, and they're giving you like 95% of each guitar. They give you a little hint of the other one in each earphone, but each earphone is more or less reserved for just one guitar. And it really creates a I don't know what the word would be, but just the type of experience it creates is a little bit more unique than other bands.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with like the way they have their mix in general in this album is not necessarily how they always have it, but like the guitar wise,
hints of it.
Yeah, the guitar wise, they keep that identity for a long time. Like there's, like you said, hints of it. That's a huge part of it. But this one, I feel like especially, did you say they fired their bassist after this album?
I believe so.
So, because that makes sense, because in this song in particular, there was one element that I heard that was, I don't normally hear in a lot of Every Time I Dive songs. Not saying that the rhythm section doesn't usually stand out, but they're very, they don't normally have like huge solos, unless it's like, like a bridge part or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a little flare part where like the bass did this like part or something like that, and it really hit my ear wrong. And I was like, we don't do that here.
But yeah, it's an early, that's the fun part of it being the early album, is there's a lot of going for it on certain things.
Stuff.
Yeah. So you get a little taste of some shit you're probably not going to hear on future albums.
We're not going to do that anymore. Okay.
Yeah, but I get it. I think, have you noticed in like a lot of the genres we listen to, they're not busting out like guitar solos too often.
Not usually. Not I mean, but if they do, they rip. Like, it's like one of those things where like they're not going to pull out a guitar solo just to be like a jerk off guitar player. They're gonna pull out a fucking guitar solo that like rips. Like Propagandhi is one of those bands that I feel like they utilize the guitar solo so fucking well. Strung Out is another one that utilizes them really well. Like where it's like, it's not masturbatory. You know what I'm saying? this thing where they're like, we're gonna go like Joe Cocker, where you're just like, like or something like this, where you're just like, all right, yeah, we know you're good at guitar, but like,
well, Pat, can I tell you this?
Huh?
It's actually about the notes you don't play. That's what makes that special.
Andy, can I be honest with you?
Please, I want you to be nothing but honest with me.
I've never thought of it that way. That's fucking brilliant.
I'm just here to fucking
bro. Because sometimes you don't need to fucking shred.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you just need to bend a note. Wow.
Don't be in a hurry. You wait for the next note. When's it coming? When's it coming? When I fucking feel like.
How about right
to you?
Now? Yeah.
I play my guitar solo like fucking two alley cats fucking.
Speaking of alley cats, these little motherfuckers are gonna fucking fight in about a second. So if shit goes offline, you know where I went. Cat head.
Got a little guitar solo happening down there.
Yeah, cat guitar solo. Actually, no, everything's cooled down. We're good. Okay.
Hell yeah. Let us keep it moving. And
there's one?
There's a couple more, Pat.
Oh, man.
3 to be exact. This next one, nothing dreadful ever happens.
Ever.
Hell yeah. I'm going to pull a Audible and assume it's just that for the next 20 seconds. Very interesting. So to me, that sounds like, I don't want to, not filler song,
Yeah.
but it sounds, like, so a lot of times in wrestling, they structure a card very specifically. And a lot of times before like the main event, it'll still be like a big match, but they usually have like two big guys who have like a slower moving match. And then the main event will be this like over the top spectacular. So you just saw a really good match, but the energy was different and it kind of like calmed the crowd down and got them ready for the big match. And I wonder if this song, if you're looking at it from, just listening to the album all the way through, I wonder if this song is a choice like that. Because, like, I'm putting good money they never played this song live once.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love this band. Andy, I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a big Every Time I Die fan.
Just finding that out right now.
I think that if anybody were to tell me how big of an Every Time I Die fan they were, and they said that this was their favorite song, I would call them a fucking asshole to their face, because this is.
I love how you approach topics.
This is the most forgettable fucking. I love these guys. This was definitely a forgettable song. It's one of those things where like I don't know anybody that would request this one live. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to do that with all the sound clips live? You're going to just have somebody playing something in the background, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I guess
it's Chariot and stuff like.
But here, let me say this, because I think to like what you're kind of thinking about is sort of goes to what makes it kind of goes to what makes me super curious about this song, because I'm now sitting here going, because obviously, if I'm listening to this, I maybe. You listen to this the one time you do the full album listen, but when you're going through this, you do a little skipsy over it. You know what I mean? But I would from an artistic standpoint, I'd be very curious what their thought process on this was, because it does sound like I got to imagine when they wrote it, they're like, yeah, we're never playing this live. So I got to imagine, if I'm looking at this like glass half full, I got to imagine this was written as a little bit, like I said before, a little bit of a let up to kind of revitalize you. Because if I can go back for the third time to do a little shitski on Dillinger Escape Plan, those motherfuckers, yeah, fuck you, Dillinger. You know what? You had it too good for too long. Finally, some motherfucker can take you down a peg, Dillinger Escape Plan.
We all saw Dillinger left you guys for Better Lovers, and now it's just the Escape Plan out there fucking trying to make their own way, but they're not gonna do it because they're not good enough. They weren't good enough before. I have an interesting theory to throw past you right after you make this point about shitting on Dillinger Escape Plan. Excuse me, but please go ahead.
Oh yeah, actually, speaking of Dillinger, they're a part of this. Not to completely change the topic, but they're a part of this festival where the lineup looks nuts.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking. Is that the one with Drunken Coffees on it too?
It's in
Ohio.
Wait, no, is it Ohio?
Pretty sure it's driving distance, Andy. It's like 8 hours, but
is it Ohio? I mean, everything's driving. No, it's in California.
Oh, man, it's not the same one I was thinking of. Never mind.
No, but yeah, dude, it's crazy. The original Misfits, Iggy Pop, Bad Religion.
Yeah, that's fake. That seems fake. I don't know if that's real. That can't be real.
Dude, that's what everyone said before when we were young. Now, what are you talking about? You could get all these bands for like $80.
The original Misfits?
Yeah, dude, they're all poor. Yeah, because Danzig's a dick and makes it super hard for them to make money off their likeness.
He's famously hard to work with, and now he has no options.
Yeah, dude. I mean, let's be honest. Like, the lineup is Misfits, Social Distortion, Iggy Pop, Turnstile, Bad Religion, Sublime.
Right. Yeah, they're not.
But then once you get past that, like, I don't know, dude. The Vandals are playing. I'm not even shitting on the Vandals, but you don't need to throw them that much to get them on.
Don't take it. Don't. You know what I mean?
I love the Hitler Bad, Vandals Good. Amazing album. I love the Vandals.
They had some pretty good. They had back albums, I think, that were like hits. So you just watch your tongue when you're talking about the Vandals, my friend. Sorry.
Did I say anything about their
Sorry.
music quality? I'm just saying you
They're
can
worth
take
it.
half. You can take half of your last paycheck to book them. That's all I'm saying.
I'm making pretty good check. Almost $900, Andy.
I'm actually a multimillionaire, so that'd be a lot of money for the Vandals.
I have a theory, or unless you want to still shit on Dillinger or not, but I want to.
Oh yeah, my last point of my point I think I was trying to make on Dillinger was like they don't, this is a smart move for a hardcore band because like a band like Dillinger, they don't give you that let up all the time. So this, I'm looking at this glass half full. This to me seems like from a beginning to end, listening to an album beginning to end, this seems like a let up song to get you re-energized for the last two.
Yeah, I think you're right, but also there's something because if you know as a Every Time I Die head like myself, they don't really do this too much later on. Like I don't think much after Hot Damn. I don't think
this is the album where they work out a lot of the kinks. They go back and they go, that was bad, that was bad, that was bad. But yeah, it's a good point. They fix it quick.
But much like athletes, so this is my theory. I wrote down the list of the albums and their track listing, the like how many they have essentially of all their releases. So it goes 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14, 15, 16. They only go up. I think there's something about much like an athlete or a fighter or anything like that. There's almost like music stamina. I think they have more output. They, like you said, they're working out the kinks in this one, but it's also like them kind of like less preamble before they start recording. They know what they expect out of a recording session. They know what they're looking for. They have ideas already worked out. They know how to map out an album, and they just got more professional. But it's also like there's something about like an artistic stamina, I feel like, that like bands have, because this kind of output where like maybe I'm trying to think of other bands or anything like that, they might put out more songs in one of their first albums because they have so much that's built up over the years. We've talked about that. There's no such thing as an overnight success. So like there might be a band that gets their first major deal after 10 years of being a band.
Yeah.
So they might have a huge like back catalog that they can put out. And then when they go to write new music, they might be like, oh, well, we don't have 10 years to come up with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I think their output, and considering, so it goes 10, 10, 11, 12, like it goes up like that. But the years are 2001, 3, 6, 7, 9, 12, 14, 16, 21. Like that is a huge, to me, that's such good, consistent growth upwards. And the fact that their art only got that much better over the years and so much more meaningful to us and them, I feel like it's.
Yeah, I just realized that it's not until fucking Radical that they go longer than 3 years without an album. And to be honest, they're all 2-year gaps except for New Drunk Aesthetic to X Lives is the only 3-year gap. Yeah. Everything else is a 2-year gap.
And dude, one of my favorite albums, The Big Dirty. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, no. Gutter Phenomenon to Big Dirty is only 1 year apart. That's fucking crazy. 2006 to 2007.
Is it?
Yeah, big.
Wikipedia says 2.
2002.
No, 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah, Wikipedia says it's. Yeah, that was crazy.
That was not. I did not pretend to be. That was not for comedic effect.
Stop smoking cigarettes, dude.
I think that's the beer, buddy.
Yo, that's your last Labatt. Chill.
Go on, Trogs. They're not sponsored yet, but
that's what's up. You're drinking IPAs. You fucking...
I'm toasted.
Yeah. Wikipedia says September 4th, 2007 on Big Dirty, and. Click on it.
You said 2007.
Yeah, I'm trying to see when Gutter Phenomenon came out.
Should hopefully
It
2006,
says
but
May 23rd, 2005 for Gutter Phenomenon.
oh, I think maybe that. Oh, that might be a bullshit lie though. I can double check, but I'm gonna double check real quick. Hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna play the next song while you check.
I mean, Spotify says 2006. So if you are you calling Spotify bullshit, lying piece of shit, asshole, fuck?
Well,
I'll email them. I'll email them real quick. I'm gonna forward you. I'm gonna CC you, and then you. That way, you guys can work it out.
Yeah, why don't you CC these nuts? Let's listen to this next one.
Stop that.
No, I want you to look at. No, look at my balls.
Oh,
I think there's a growth. Look at my balls.
All
right. And I like the title of this song. This one is California Gracefully.
Conscience sense when I die, seems like there's yellow light through the winter review and hate. Tied to the drop down and feeling full. You want me dead. You should have gone me home. Rebels stripped and run, revenge retreating and dilating blows. I can feel the tide losing. I can feel the blood withdraw. You are my found 12-step program. And I could take this heaven. Needle full of drunken doom. Drops of blood on a fingertips. Your arms are a different presentation. Still on the same stage, forever place. Dissolve into the cosmic way. My hero.
All right, there we go. California Gracefully. I gotta be honest. If I had never heard this band and you gave me that, I'd be like, cool song. But this being the 9th song of this album, I kind of like alluded to it on the 2 songs ago, but I'm like, yeah, I've heard this already. You played this song 3 times already. Yeah. It musically speaking, and now once again, first fucking album. You're gonna get this more so on the first album, so I'm not even shitting on it per se, but this is funny how music work. Music kind of it's a contextual thing. So like I said, if this was the first single, you'd be like, hell yeah, cool song. But the fact that I've listened to 8 of their songs already, now it's just starting to, I was like, dude, this doesn't sound any different from anything else on the album. How'd you feel about it?
I think that's a really interesting way to put it. A good point making as and kind of speaking to what I was saying earlier about their marketing early on, even this early on, this is a really good album to, while they're figuring their sound out and their album structuring and stuff like that, they are giving a good representation of I don't know how to put this, where how Kiss Alive was was the thing that made Kiss really big, because it was not literally recording of a live performance of Kiss. It was Sweetens, shit, and they added crowd noise and all this other shit. But to me, this is Every Time I Die Alive. This is them saying if you were to see this band live, you would be at the end of the show, you're I don't know a lot of the songs. I don't know what the names were. I don't remember exactly how all of them went. They all melded together, but I had a fucking great time. So
that's a really good way to put it. Yeah. And I think too, just go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm just saying if this was the single, I would be yeah, this seems fun. But also I would be yeah, it sounds like a lot of the other songs on the album. But the fact that what was the song? The Crocodile Logic, the Logic of Crocodile. Sorry, that being the one where they made the video and made it a single and stuff like that. It is the one that is. No. I feel this is the one that we should do the music video for, because this gives the best representation of the whole idea of the album.
That I meant to say that earlier. That was the best one to pick for the video, because that's all the songs have a similar vibe, but that's the best song. Going off of something you were I forget exactly what you said, but you put this idea in my head. What? I'm not being mean.
No, that's funny. It's just a funny way to put it. I wasn't listening to everything you said, but I was thinking of something.
No, you and me bounce around to different ideas that I know that I want to say this. I forget why I want to say it. Right. But going off something you said earlier made me think of this, because you were saying something about a band blowing up, and it was actually kind of good that they didn't, because I feel Hot Damn and Gutter Phenomenon were the two albums that really introduced the band to people.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad this one wasn't it, but this one also, I think, provided a good, strong foundation for the people who got in early to be this is what you're going to get going forward.
Let them cook a little bit. You know what I mean? Let them simmer for some, tour some more, fucking party some more, drink some more, Keith. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Grab a couple baths.
We get it. We get it, guys. You like the party, okay?
Yeah, all right.
Oh, this next one. Shallow Water Blackout. Whoa, what do you know? Somebody drowned when they were drunk.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for introing it.
Don't say a single fucking word that you speak with a dirty tongue. I'm not listening. I'm not focusing. My eyes are sunken set. I'm invincible. I wanna move. Someone said that heaven was just coincidence. From this and every legend. Oh, this is getting dark. We're touching I'm a fire. Changing colors. Bending your eye. Television. Get to die. Saying better. Sorry, voltage, I'm confused. Around burns across the sky. Right, everyone along the roadside just wants to see you die. On the serenity of sunrise, the allure of the passing down. I heard the defibrillator now, can't stop me now. I feel quite alright. I feel quite alright.
Hell yeah, there we go. Shallow Water Blackout. This reminded me of a thing I always respect about Every Time I Die. A lot of bands will, like, if it's a 10-song album, the first 5 to 6 will be heavy hitters, and then it kind of like peters out on the last 3 or 4. And I just remembered about Every Time I Die will have the balls to end their album with a banger.
Yeah.
And I think that's really admirable, because a lot of times, let's be honest, a lot of times, a lot of people don't get to song number 10. But, if you're looking at it as a whole piece of art rather than here's a couple good songs as a whole piece, like that's how you want to end. You want to end big. And yeah, it's like the Every Time I Die we're coming up on and that we're, in here to fucking love and listen to. This is a good representation of it because it was showing a lot of personality. Did you notice? I started to notice like they had a very specific style of noodling where the guitars would both double up on these lines, but like this whole album had this like the guitar lines would create a mild sense of dissonance that but would still feel right. And it would almost kind of coincide with the tongue-in-cheek nature of like the lyrics and shit like that. It's like it was really interesting how they both played off each other so well.
It was somewhere between a harmonic and a weird like off like a harmony, like a harmonic and like basically like you said like a dissonant chord or something like that, like where you're specifically trying to sound like you're disjointed. But like this song to me kind of like I paid attention to the lyrics, and if I may, not only is this a great outro, but this might be our theme song. This this one like lyrically speaks to us in general mentally. I feel like very very much so. Told me it was chemistry why I behave like this, why I move in misdirected impulse and speak in scrambled clusters of white noise. Like this weird thing of like this, that's kind of like this really good like representation of how I read.
yeah.
Like that's how it's a great outro song too, I feel like.
No, and there was the other line that I thought represented us really well. It said, "Oh shit, this buff bitch has an OnlyFans." I thought that one represented us real well.
It's crazy that they said that about OnlyFans back then.
Before it was a website.
I mean, somebody get Keith a fucking check,
God damn, fucking, he's got like the what was it? Back to the Future? That's some sports almanac shit.
Hey Keith, you mean something like this? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, where like I just jerk off on my bed. Yeah, something like that.
I'm gonna lift these weights and then get fucked.
Yeah. I just feel like this was like a good intro, or I guess this is a way better intro to Every Time I Die than their EP, like the one that we're not talking about, the one that shall not be named, and also I can't. I also can't remember the name of.
So it's not just that it shall not be; it can't be.
And also the fact that Wikipedia, we know, is also bullshit, piece of shit, garbage, fucking liars. So we're learning a lot on this episode. Great intro to Every Time I Die in general. Also,
yeah.
Right? I'm really excited for the next album, and I'm really excited to like really get into like their growth and when there's less filler and all killer. Because this one, I love this album, but this had a lot of filler, and if I'm ranking them 1 through 9, as of right now, I'd say I think this is 9.
Wouldn't it technically be number 1 because there's nothing against it? I'm just now. This is the best. This is the best album we've listened to so far.
No, I still rank it 9. I have blank, 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 9. Straight up every time I die.
Fair enough. Well, don't give them too much because we're gonna have to do a ranking episode. So don't give them too much of how you feel about that.
I'll forget anyway.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, man. That was a good album. Definitely. Yeah, like you said, it's definitely not. It's probably towards the bottom. It's probably my 9 as well.
It's not my. It's blowing my dick off, but
your dick is still on. Your dick is still full.
It blew my dick, but it did not blow my dick off.
I came, but I still got my dick. The dick is still on.
Attached. Right here.
Still a great what a great intro of a band to the world being like, hey, this is us. You know what I mean? Like, what a great way to start off your band and then knowing the music to come after that. And so thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching that. Hopefully you guys fucking enjoyed it. Comment down below all the things you liked about it and all the things you fucking hated and all that. We will be back next week, same time, talking about Hot Damn.
Hot Damn!
Bye.
Bye.